Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades.
Welcome to Gas Masks and Hand Grenades, a special inaugural 3 a.m. edition, I might add. That's where it is for me. But this gentleman right here, it's 9 a.m., which is not very rock star of you, sir. I'm just saying, okay? That's not a rock star thing, right? Being up at 9 a.m. But please welcome my guest, Nikita Kamprad. Did I get it kind of right?
That's good, yeah.
Good enough?
Nikita Kamprad, der Weg Einer Freiheit. I'm sorry, I haven't...
Are you there?
Oh,
okay.
There's a voice coming.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I hear you twice.
Oh,
in a way.
What happened there? That's kind of weird. Is it doing it now?
Now I hear myself.
Okay, do you hear me?
I hear. Wait.
Are you getting an echo?
No, I think No, it's working. I'm sorry.
Okay, are you there?
Yeah, it's working. Yeah,
okay.
And you're singing. Oh,
right.
Sorry. Yeah.
So that I blew that whole intro, man. It was so good.
Yeah, I didn't understand the thing you said actually.
Okay, all right. So what I said was, welcome to the inaugural 3 a.m. on the East Coast edition of Gas Masks and Hand Grenades, because it's 3 a.m. here, and this gentleman, Mr. Nikita Kamprad, works.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Okay. He is joining me from Germany, and it is, I believe, 6 hours ahead. It's 9 a.m. ish there. And Nikita, can you please pronounce the name of your band so I don't absolutely butcher it?
Sure. It's Der Weg Einer Freiheit.
Der Weg Einer Freiheit. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. And we're going to get into that a little bit here in a minute here. But the reason you're here with me today is Will put a gun to my head and said, interview this guy. No, he didn't do that at all. My buddy Will over at Season of Mist sent me your new album, which just dropped on Friday, called Innern. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay.
Correct.
Came out on Season of Mist on Friday the 12th. And so we're just about 48 hours into the release of this album so far.
Yeah.
And I will mention that all the vinyl is sold out on your Bandcamp, and all the vinyl but the black vinyl is sold out on the American Season of Mist site. I don't know about the European one. I didn't check there because it's too expensive to import anyways these days.
Yeah.
Especially with the craziness that's going on with our political system here. But yeah, so that's good news, right? I mean, I would think that's pretty good news.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very happy about that. I mean, the European sales are also very good. I mean, we sold out the first two limited editions of the vinyl in our own shop within the pre-order timeframe, actually. So before the album's release on Friday. I mean, that's just numbers, but they indicate, the interest of the people and the feedback we were receiving so far since Friday, especially when people were able to listen to the full record. It was mind-blowing. It was really, really, really a step up compared to the previous album, for example, which already was a great release, but this one really was different, I think. Yeah,
that's awesome, man. So in the interest of complete transparency, I'm going to come clean with you, sir. I before a couple of weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, I think it was. Now I get a ton of promos in, right? And mostly to cultivate a queue of people I want to interview. Okay. A lot of times it's bands I'm already very, very aware of, like, for example, from Season of Mist, but I get them from many different labels. And that's generally what I do. I don't typically like to do reviews on my channel because everybody's trying to do reviews and everybody wants to be the first guy to do it. And I'm like, I need time usually with an album.
Yeah.
I mean, I can know right away whether it's something I'm interested in or whether it goes in the email trash bin or not. And I'll be honest with you. I'll take a day a week and start going through stuff. And if something doesn't hit, because you know as well as I do that there's so much material coming out all the time. This isn't
Definitely.
like when I was a
Yeah.
kid in the '80s and
Yeah.
there was mystery surrounding everything. Now it's all built up to tons of
Totally.
press beforehand and pre-order and pre-release. I spun this album. I read probably Will's,
The promo sheet or something.
promo sheet. And I thought, okay, now I'm an extremely picky black metal lover. Okay. Very picky. My bands are bands like a lot of the oldies, man. Enslaved is probably my favorite black metal band. I love Dissection, Dawn, Emperor, that type of stuff. A lot of the classic bands that we'd call them, right?
Likewise.
but a lot of the newer stuff, I'll be quite frank with you, it doesn't hit, and I'm not a huge fan of the cult production, the grim stuff that sounds like it was recorded in a telephone booth that a lot of people are into. I mean, one of my favorite artists is this guy right here.
Oh, yeah. They just put out a new song, I think, also on Friday or last week.
New album coming out in November, but he doesn't do press, so I'm not going to get him for an interview. So that's part of his mystique.
Common.
That's part of his mystique, and I understand that. But
to
kind of roll this out to you, Will sent me this, and I clicked on. I thought, I'll be completely honest with Nikita. I really expected to get maybe 3 minutes into the song and be like, all right, going in the trash bin, dude. I was like fucking mind blown. I was like, wow, whoa, okay. Before I knew it, I'd listened to the whole album, and it's the nice thing is it's a 43-minute album. It's not a 60-minute album. That's a real big point in its favor, because 60-minute black metal albums typically don't hang with me too well these days.
It's difficult so long. Yeah,
it's difficult for anybody. I mean, I just went to see Dream Theater last week,
especially in these times where everything is very. Your attention is grabbed from every side of the corner of the world, and it's difficult sometimes to concentrate on one single album or even song. So that's
ADHD.
the risk we also.
If you look
if
you look in a fucking dictionary, there's a picture of me next to ADHD. I guarantee it. So the older I get, the worse I get. So, but I not only listened to it the whole way through, but I went back and listened to it, and I was like, wow, okay. Hey, Will. Does this guy do interviews? Does this band do interviews? Because you better get them before me.
Of course I do.
So here we are now.
Nice.
But my point to you is that about 2 to 3 weeks ago, I knew nothing about your band. That's a bit surprising to me, as tuned in as I am. But you just spoke to the point that there's so much coming at us all the time anymore. From this thing right here, which you and I are going to talk about a little bit, social media, the whole 9 yards. I think that this is a pretty special album, man. So it's great to see this kind of reaction. Tell me a little bit first about the meaning of the word Innern and how it relates to the concept of the album. Also about the name, which I believe I found the way to freedom is the translation loosely, I guess.
Yeah.
What's the derivation and meaning behind that, if there is any definitive meaning? And tie that all together, and then we'll start diving into the album and some other ancillary things. So I'll shut up.
Yeah, of course. No, thank you for the introduction. I think it's important, and what you said is really resonating with me in terms of how this album is written, the intention why it's written like that. We start off the album with 2 almost 10-minute songs, which is a bold risk also to take as a band in nowadays time, where, as I said, the attention span of the listener mostly is like this, very short.
Yeah.
And but we wanted to make a stance. We wanted this album to especially be listened to in full, because the album was written from start to finish in one go, basically in chronological order, first song was written the first, last song was the last one written.
Oh wow!
And you have these very natural transitions in between the songs, which are also very important. It's not like you can put the last song on the first in as the first track or switch the order around. It wouldn't make sense anymore. So best is to, and you did it exactly the right way. Best is to listen to the album in full. Of course, we were in a time where you need to promote the album before the album's release with singles.
Right.
Of course, we released the first 2 singles, and I'm always looking into this kind of with 2 different. It has 2 different sides. Of course, it helps people get into the album, get to know the band. Actually, many people who didn't know us were able to check us out with the single releases. That's for sure. But I find it really, really relieving, and I'm very happy about your feedback in this point. And we also have had the same feedback from many people who listen to the album now, that the album really makes sense when you listen to it in total. And that's the best compliment, to be honest, because it means also that people are willing to sit down, spend their time on music, and enjoy the process, and not just like this one.
Yes. Yep.
Take their phone and like scroll through Instagram or anywhere and just like listen to 2 seconds of music. Well, that doesn't make sense, at least for me. Not for the whole music genre. It doesn't make sense, to be honest.
I think maybe what I'm hearing you say a little bit is that there's a bit of a story arc in the or narrative in the beginning to the end phase of this album, and it starts with this kind of almost machine-like Marshall sort of automaton sounding synth thing that's very cinematic, almost like you're gearing up for battle. And then it launches into the savage part that rips your fucking face off, right? And it's crushingly heavy. And I don't typically like that kind of black metal that's just all blasty. I'm the anti-blasty guy with black metal, which is kind of weird. But this album really gripped me. Your drummer's fucking phenomenal, by the way.
Thank you. I just sent him the link before we started the interview. Maybe he's watching.
He might be watching. He'll be like, I like this guy here. But I guess so we'll get to each track, because I do want to speak a little bit about each track and get your thoughts on them. But tell me a little bit about the band itself, the history, like a Reader's Digest quick version of, did the band start just simply as a studio project of you, or did it? Oh, and I forgot to mention one thing. When I said about Will, sending this to me and me digging it, my wallet hates both you and Will right now. Okay, I'm gonna just say that my wallet does not like either of you guys very much, because I went out,
not getting any cheaper.
I went out and bought all the stuff except the second album. I haven't been able to find that until I saw it on Season of Mist as a reissue. But I got the original album, your first album, from the first label. What was the name of it?
Viva Hate Records.
Viva Hate, yeah. I found a copy on eBay for $37. I was like,
wow, that's nice.
Yeah.
The white one or the black one?
I don't remember.
Okay. Because I remember when it got released the first time in 2010, we made 100 white copies and 400 black, so 500 in total.
Probably black, I'm guessing, but I didn't actually add. But they're numbered, I think. It said it was, anyways.
Yeah, I think so. I think they should be.
Or maybe just
maybe just the
white ones.
I don't know.
I'll find out when I get it. But
you will find out.
I thought that was a good price, because looking on Discogs, it was
definitely
for $80, $90, $100, which is a little out of my range of comfort for vinyl. So I was really happy about that. I've got everything but the second album now, and unfortunately, I've got Innern showing up today, this afternoon, from Amazon, so I don't have it to show. But I did want to do this before we delve any further. I wanted to show, where's it at? Give me a moment here. Here we go. So this is the artwork here, and I was kind of curious about this artwork. Tell me a little bit about what that is supposed to signify. Anything specific?
wow, not really. Specific, it's difficult. The very initial idea was actually when we talked to our designer Max Löffler, who did the artwork. Yeah, it was the first talk actually, really, when we talked about the album artwork. We definitely wanted something. We straight talked about the vinyl packaging. Actually, we wanted something physical, something haptic, that is kind of interactive. And it turned out now, if you have the vinyl, that the cover comes with an cutout. So the round thing you see in the middle is cut out, and
So it's
you
a die
put
cut.
in.
It's a die cut.
It's a die cut, yeah.
Oh, nice.
And you put in the inner sleeve into the cover to complete it, and you can also turn around the inner sleeve. You have another picture there, and can put it in. And you even have a third option, so to say. On the lyric sheet, there's a band picture. And you can also put it into the cover and have the band picture in this circle.
Okay.
So it's some kind of an interactive thing. We wanted to do that, but we didn't know how it should look like. But then Max dropped, like, in a very small sentence, "Hey, I have this image of a inverted morning star," and I was like, "What the fuck should that be? I don't know, but tell me more,
Right.
or just show
Do
me
it.
your draft.
Right.
Just do it." And actually, that was the very thing that came out of this. It's actually a morning star, like a weapon, a very strong, a very brutal kind of weapon,
Okay.
cut in half, and the spikes, the thing that can hurt you, that
Internalized.
it's actually outside.
It's an inverse. Yeah.
Going inside, and it relates to the album theme, and the album title, actually, Innern. Which means very, very like commonly translated, it's inside, just inside, maybe. But it can be translated not only as a noun, but also as a verb. At least in German, it has the meaning of looking inside, of concentrating, meditating, finding out what's inside of you, in your body, in your head, and like facing your fears, also conquering your fears and finding ways out of this, as we said earlier, in the internet, this bombardment of negativity and manipulation through media, through your phone, social media, anything. Go back to what's important, the analog things, maybe also, like, instead of looking at your phone, look outside the window, go outside in nature. You find way more reward there than on your phone.
Way more spiritual centeredness,
yes,
I would think, right?
That's right. Perfect. And with this album, we tried first, of course, for ourselves, to find that inner spirit again, but hopefully also for the listeners who check out the album, that they find some some calm, some reconnection with themselves, and also with the world around them, because it's very hard to find connection with the world. Sometimes when you look at the media, or on the comment sections in your phone, you think that everyone hates everyone, but it's not the case. It's not the case,
I'm not so sure that's not true. At 60 years old, I'm becoming more and more convinced that might be the fact. I mean, we're not going to get political here, but all you need to do is look at what's going on in my country. It is a absolute shit show, and there's no way other than to say it. And it's because of the influence of this. Primarily, I think this and social media, and I am an avid, egregious user of both for the channel's purpose mainly.
Sure.
And we all use.
For me, I mean, with a band, I need these kind of things to work, and also as a music producer, it's some kind of important to stay connected, and
impossible not to, right?
Yeah.
And I would hazard a guess that you're quite a bit younger than me, at least maybe 20 years or so, somewhere in that range, maybe more. And it's like, I remember a time, crazily, We didn't have these, and we didn't have
Yeah, I
4,000
also remember.
channels of TV, and we
Yeah.
didn't have the constant bombardment from the mainstream media, whether it's here or in your country, it's all over the globe, where there's a constant struggle for your soul, your heart,
Mhm.
your soul, and your mind.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I tell you, man, it's making people very, very, very sick.
Yeah.
Globally. So we can get into that a little bit. But one of the things I noticed about this album, and I don't typically, black metal is not known for its lyrics, essentially, because generally you're not really hearing them in a lot of the things.
Mhm.
You're hearing it, but you're not understanding. Plus, you're
Yeah.
singing in German quite a bit, so I wouldn't know it because I'm not multilingual, which is another problem with our country. But anyway, there's a lot of thematic prose in here in these lyrics. I actually took them and pulled them off of your Bandcamp and pulled them up
Mhm.
and looked at them and had them
Mhm.
roughly, probably badly Google translated,
Yeah, but
but
that's the way to find out. Yeah.
the general
Yes.
ideas were there. And I hear a lot of, I think I hear a lot of references to, or allegories to the life cycle, the birth death cycle, the
Definitely.
kind of reaching beyond oneself. And like you said, Innern means to kind of become introspective and go inside a little bit, right? To
Yeah.
be able to come outside. What well, I'm going to touch on a lyric or two in a song or three coming up here, but what was there a, it sounds like there's a definitive narrative through this album with the lyrical content, which is, I don't want to call it a concept album per se, because I don't really think it's that per se,
Yeah.
but I think there's an overarching concept. You want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I think this overall concept, it doesn't necessarily only apply to this album, but the band in general. I'm the sole songwriter in the band, or the main songwriter, and also writing the lyrics. I mean, back in the day, we had another singer. The first 3 years, he also wrote a couple of lyrics, but yeah, they first of all, they are all quite introspective, quite like personal.
Yeah.
Showing my personal view on things, just simply put. But yeah, as you said, this life of circle of life theme, it's more present than ever. I think on the new album, with the line, for example, on the first song, it's I'm singing. Wurde ich wahrhaftig geboren in diese Welt, oder war ich doch schon immer da? Which means basically, have I really, or was I really born into this world, or have I always been here in a way? And sometimes remembering yourself that you are nothing else than just material, that it has always been on this earth since
Carbon-based life form. That's
of
what you are.
yeah, since millions of years. And in the end, you're even stardust in a way, from stars, maybe, I don't know, light years away from you. That, at least for me, sometimes remembering that it is like that, and there's maybe not a higher meaning, helps coping with all this shit we experience in our lives, in a way to get comfort.
Is it
At
also,
least that's me.
yeah, is it also kind of, I heard you mention in one interview, I only got to watch one interview, which kind of I think will help me a little bit. Sometimes I watch too many and then I'm like, oh, I can't ask that. I can't ask that. I can't ask that. And sometimes you can't help but ask the same questions to a degree, right?
Yeah.
But I noted that you talked about that, are we stardust? We are carbon-based life forms that we evolved out of the earth and we devolved back into the earth at some point, because none of us live forever.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something that really put me in mind of one of my good buddies, and I'm not just star fucking here. He's a very good friend of 25, almost 30 years. Are you familiar with Steven Wilson at all?
I know the name, yes, and our guitarist, Alan, or our new bassist actually, Alan, he's a huge fan of him, and always tells him, check this out, check out Porcupine Tree. Never really get into them.
That's cool, but his latest album, The Overview, is all about the astronauts that went to the moon, or orbiting Earth, and looking back at the Earth and seeing just how insignificantly small the Earth is comparative to this universe that we don't really fully understand at all. It's infinite as far as we know.
Yeah.
And man is a tiny pebble of sand in this vast thing, this of carbon-based life forms or matter.
And
or
sometimes,
whatever.
as I said, remembering this or like acknowledging that fact helps to also helps me to concentrate more on what I actually want to do with my life. And that's not being on the internet fighting with some random strangers, for example. It's music in my case, for example. For you, maybe it's the channel, or writing about music, or there are I also play guitar. I see the guitar on the background, of course.
That's my Dean back there.
And it can be for every human being, it can be something completely different, like hiking. Going out in nature is again a great thing to do with your lifetime, or cooking, doing sports, all this what keeps you trained, not physically only but also mentally, and that's so important in our times, I think.
Having a purpose,
having a purpose, living your life meaningful in a way. It's very difficult sometimes to find that meaning. That's very sure. But at least I don't know if I'm overshooting, but I hope that some people also find meaning in our music, and maybe get a little bit of push or something like that to look on things differently.
There's a very interesting aspect of your music that I've discovered now, obviously with this album now going back, and I did get to listen to the last 4. I did not get to listen to the first 2. I'm just going to be clear. That's why I wanted to be upfront with you and say, look, I'm very new to you, very new. But the fact that I decided, okay, this is a band I'm going to invest my money and my time in, speaks a lot. It speaks a lot to the level of interest I have in the music right off the bat from Innern. So I think, or Innern, it's Innern, right?
Innern.
Innern, it is Innern. Okay, there's an N.
You can in German actually I would say Innern.
Innern, okay,
Innern with an R. Some crazy Germans would pronounce it like Innern.
Yeah, they really go hard on the R there.
And in English you can call it Innern if you like.
But I saw
no way.
I pulled a specific line out from, and I'm gonna probably crush this title. Ilbaba. Shibaba. Okay. The ZX is the she. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a line in there. I wish it was clear as day that without you, without all the fear, all the darkness within us, the world is nearing its end. There is a bit of a yin and yang to this album lyrically that I noticed, where you're talking about very heady topics like, what's the purpose, as you said, what's my purpose here, or what's all of our purpose here, maybe as a universal thing, right? And there is a lot of questions, I think, or lyrical prose that kind of leads to that ultimate thought process of the cycle of life and being born and then living and then dying. What happens? None of us know what happens when we die, right? None of us.
No.
And it's the great question that is,
at least no one knows what happens with the spirit, is so called, or however you want to call it.
Well, with your sentient mind, with your here and now,
and with the everyone knows what happens with the physical body, basically.
Right.
Either gets buried or burned or anything that you would like to. But what happens with your head? What's inside your head?
The soul.
In general,
the eternal thought. What do I have a soul? And what does it do when
I have one? Where does it go? Is it being like absorbed into like a collective kind of
energy?
thing, energy, that is the world made of, or something like that. No one knows, of course. That's why there are religions who which are like having their takes on it, and I really like the Buddhism take on that kind of thing. But
I was going to ask, so
yeah.
that ties right. You led me right back into segueing into the lyrical content. It does sound like many of your lyrics in here are kind of trying to grapple with that concept a lot. Am I right? Am I wrong?
With the religion in general? Or...
No, with just the what happens to us when we go.
Yeah, totally. That's a common thread, I would say, that is going through all the songs, even right from the start when I first wrote the first songs. I think there was already this kind of, asking questions. You can find out so many different new things about yourself if you start to ask questions and not only think about it, but write it down or talk to other persons, or like having it manifested in the physical world and not only in your head. And that's the meaning I get from writing lyrics. I write them down to find out what's beyond, ask questions, and even though there's not another person who's answering the questions,
right,
I get kind of an answer from the lyrics themselves. And that's kind of a very cool thing about writing in general, being it lyrics or books or any. I didn't write a book, but I can imagine that it has kind of the same effect, maybe, if you write a book, that you get to know more about yourself. I mean, many books are autobiographies in a way from the author who wrote it. Not always, of course, but in many times it is like that. The author like puts in his life into the text, finds out, digs deeper, and then suddenly realizes, oh, maybe that's the reason why I am the way I am.
You come to some self-realization by doing it, right? Yeah. Very cool. I mean, I found the lyrics as maybe perhaps clumsy as Google did it, because there were a few words where I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean,
but overall, it was pretty good. For the most part, it was pretty good.
And, yeah, I think it's all right to translate them roughly, but I use a lot of German, even some things that a normal German guy probably would not say like that.
Right.
It's just a certain way I write it, but
it's a dialectical thing, or it might be like what we might
like
say here in the States might not translate well to what someone in Germany or Japan.
That's the beauty of language, of different languages as well.
Yeah. The thing that I kept coming back to with the album, and again, I've gone back as far as the third album, which is Stillun. How do you pronounce it?
Unstille or Unstille. Unstille. Yeah.
And then what's that mean again?
It's basically the opposite of calmness. Like Stille is calm, and the prefix.
So you're not calm, so it's anxiety or something like that.
Is the other way around.
Yeah. Okay. So that's as far.
But it's a made up. It's a made up word. It's not. You don't find it in the dictionary or something.
Okay.
It's some kind of fantasy word.
I got you. And I guess the thing that I've noticed over the last 3 albums in particular is a kind of decided artistic direction, maybe, to become more cinematic and more ethereal. And I know we use these words all the time to describe, it's what we do as fans. And you probably do it yourself when you listen to one of your favorite bands and you try to describe it to your friend. Dude, you got to hear it's this and it's that, and it's it's kind of weird, and it's all really objective, or subjective rather, to you, the listener. But I kept, like, for example, the first track, Matir, is that it?
Marta.
Marta, okay, is like I said, it's very epic. There's almost a droning machine-like intro to it. It's got a militaristic, like you're readying for battle thing, and then it just blisteringly comes in, and goes right for the jugular, man. Just rips your throat out. But then it like almost like in a Marduk or Mayhem sort of way, or maybe a Dissection sort of way. It's just savage. And then it transitions into this more hypnotic tribal section, more towards 2/3, maybe 3/4 of the way into the song.
Yep.
And like I said, man, that was, before I knew it, that track 9 minutes, 10 minutes in that range. I listened to it. I'm like, whoa, this is fucking special right here. This is pretty special stuff. This is not like your every other day copy and paste, E minor tremolo pick guitar riff that, unfortunately a lot of black metal tropes are about, right? But then like you go into Zilbaba, which is Zilbaba. I'm gonna screw it up. Zilbaba, yeah. X. I'm just gonna call it X.
That's good.
And that one's got a real driving black metal vibe to it. That's just sort of, just that you can almost envision everybody at the show is going to be doing.
Especially the first half of the song is.
Yes, and then it kind of transitions into a more of a. There's a little bit more floatiness to it, a little bit more sereneness, right? Yeah. I gotta say, EOS is my favorite song, though, man. That thing builds.
Although you don't like blast beats.
I know that's the most
because the song is full of it.
It's full of it, but here's what you do that's unique with it, and I think this is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
You don't take this the wrong way. What you're doing black metal wise is not something new. Okay, it's not something that hasn't been done by all those ancient bands we just talked about. The guys are all my age now, right? Or roughly my age, maybe a few years younger. What you do around it is what I find incredibly gravitational. It pulls me in because it's that cinematic soundtracky, dare I say shoegaze, but it's not really shoegaze. I would call it more like black.
I don't know what shoegaze is actually.
Yeah, well, shoegaze would be bands like My Bloody Valentine or Cocteau Twins. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you read what I wrote. I said it's like if the Cocteau Twins had birthed a fire-breathing dragon baby. It's like that's what it sort of sounds like, right?
Yeah.
And it's the atmospherics, which I think are more overtly obvious on this album than even on the past album, which they're kind of growing a little bit. They're not necessarily strings per se. They're more atmospheric sort of soup that's that the riffs and the blast beats and the vocals are all kind of immersed in. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah.
It's so
some people think I read some comments, people who miss the riffing basically, because as you said, it's some kind of soup. It's the riffing, the guitar riffs, for example, they're not as accurate, as on point as on the other albums. But we did it so many times on the past albums. Now was the time. I had the feeling, okay, let's go rather into this, also with this use of synthesizers. Let's go for the soup. Let's have soup and have built in the guitars into a whole very soothing, calming, warm mixture of sound.
It's not
a lot of different textures.
It's not a cold album. It doesn't sound like
not at all. Yeah,
it doesn't sound like fuck, I'm forgetting the name of the dude that I always forget. Paysage de Verre or something like that. Just this savage, unrelenting lo-fi. It almost sounds like a buzzsaw coming at you, right? And I like some of that.
You can perfectly imagine yourself going through the snow mountains on, I don't know, 2,000 meters in the Alps. That's I think where this guy comes from.
The Swiss
his music is exactly sounding like that. That's perfect.
What's his other thing called?
Dark Space.
Dark Space. Yeah. And I like that. There's a time and space for that. But also sometimes by the end of that, I'm like ready to jump in a wood chipper. I'm like, all right, I've heard enough. It's like I can only do that in small doses. I'm mostly a death metal guy. Predominantly, I'm an 80s guy, but the metal, I'm also a Rush fanatic, so go figure, that kind of stuff, the classic stuff. But EOS just, man, it's so cool because it builds from this melancholy set of descending arpeggios that you start out with, and then you got the Atmos synth that kind of reminds me, and you're not going to know this song, I bet, but go listen to it, because I'd be curious to see if you get back to me through Will or whatever. You can obviously get me on my Instagram. But there's a band called Styx from the 70s, proggy poppy band. They had a song called Sweet Madam Blue, and it's built off of a very, very similar B minor arpeggio chord, which I don't know.
I mean, it's nothing new. As you said, we don't reinvent the wheel or something like
12
that.
12 notes, dude. We got 12 notes.
Yeah.
8, well, really 8 notes, really. I mean,
Another kind of interesting reference a friend of mine sent me was the one Portishead song. I don't remember which one, but one,
Off Dummy.
From this album. And I listened to this album a lot back in the day, and then I remembered, he's kind of right.
And that happens,
not
man.
intentional.
You know very well, by being a guitar player, we are all products of our influences. We always are, for the most part. And I find I was writing this cool acoustic piece about a year ago, and I'm searching for that one chord. I want that wow moment, that wow chord. And I come up with it, and it's, on the guitar neck, it's the, you're not going to be able to hear it, but can you hear that?
Yeah, I hear that.
What chord is it? Diary of a Madman, Randy Rhoads. I threw it in there. I didn't even know how to play the song, but I came up with that chord coming out of a different arpeggio, a D chord. It was like a D sus chord. And I put that in. I'm like, yes, this is so cool, man. Nobody's ever heard that combo before. And then somewhere,
your next friend says, "Oh, that's Randy Rhoads."
No, I was listening. Something came up, and somehow Diary of a Madman came on. I'm like, motherfucker, that's Randy Rhoads' chord, man. I'm like, I can't keep that, but I'm gonna keep it. It's staying in there. But it is what it is. That's how we go. But again, I hear these really cool. I guess it's probably about 2:15 in that song where it just comes in and starts to rip your face off with the savage blast, right? The blasting is just incredible. Reminded me a lot of Dissection and Down, but somehow, again, you guys managed to add this soup into the mix that makes it wavery and aqueous and sort of aqueous sounding. Thank you. I can speak English. And it's just got this shimmeringness to it that is kind of that gazy sort of thing. I also noticed on that song that you're singing some clean vocals, and what really struck me was, are you a fan of Arcturus at all?
Arcturus? No, not. Haven't checked them out yet. Really,
reminds me a little bit of Simon Hestus, Vortex, AC Vortex, a little bit.
Oh yeah, of course I know that. I know him. Yeah.
He's in Arcturus now, but it was in Demo Borger, of course. So I noticed that was
Bortnagar, right?
Bortnagar. Yeah, Bortnagar. Yes. Yep. Absolutely. So that's a high compliment there. I felt that. I really dug.
Whoa.
I even heard a little. Am I wrong? Did I hear you go falsetto at one moment
in the song?
Yeah.
Not in the song, but I did it on the previous album, Nocturne. In the last song on Nocturne, in Haven, I completely sing this song on falsetto vocals.
Man, I could have swore I heard a slight little, or maybe I'm thinking of a different. So you didn't do any falsetto on this album? Could have swore I heard a little bit of falsetto.
Yeah, maybe just for background vocals in Forlorn in the last song on that album.
It might have been in Forlorn that I'm thinking of. Yeah, which is a really interesting song too, in that you're singing in English, I believe. And it's a good bit of the first half of the song is all in clean, and it's very, I don't know, it's very almost alternative rock sounding. Dare I say that? It's got an alt vibe to it, right? I could almost hear it being like a Radiohead song with kinda.
Don't get me started.
Oh, you're a Radiohead fan, or you hate them?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
And also, the reason why this song is maybe a different one in terms of sound and how it came together is the reason behind that is it was co-written by our guitarist Nicolas and myself, and both of us were huge Radiohead fans, so probably there's the influence.
A little bit of influence there,
yeah, especially for the first half of the song.
Yep.
Nicolas is also an electronic music producer with a huge knowledge of synths, and also has some analog synths like a
Right.
Roland Juno in his studio. And he wrote the complete first half of the song, and then when the harsh vocals
Right, the heavy
come in,
part, right. Mhm.
I took over basically and did the rest. And it was a very nice collaboration, which actually the band hadn't seen before. As I said, I'm the
Primary.
principal songwriter, primary. But at that point, with the very last song on the album, I was like, I need some help. I actually, after this piano piece, Finisterre 3,
Mhm.
I had the very profound feeling of emptiness in a way.
Like, where do
had
I
the
go
feeling
from
that-
here, maybe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I said everything I wanted to say, but we're around 35 minutes. It can be an album. Some
Sure.
bands release an album like that,
Mhm.
but I was sure there was one more song
Do you
missing.
see doing that? Do you foresee doing that again in the future?
Definitely, I think so, because it turned out really, really good.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is, last songs on albums, they always suffer from the attention span of the listener again.
Right.
Like me myself, I'm mostly not. I mostly start an album from the start, and when it comes to the end, mostly, or sometimes I switch off because I want to do something else, or I don't know what.
Or you're tired.
But
You're just,
yeah, or
you're
just
sort of,
tired.
yeah.
So last songs on an album, the closing tracks always suffer from that. I guess you see it on the streaming numbers also. All our last songs on each album, they have the least
They
plays.
die off, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But on this
would
track, I just wanted to add
Yeah.
what we've seen in the internet on comments and about the album was that people really appreciate that song because it is so special.
I dig it,
So
man. I think it's a perfect way to
Th-
close the album. It
I'm
really
very
is.
happy to
Yeah.
hear that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I mean, the Finisterre 3 is cool too because it's kind of an interlude song. Basically, it's a little instrumental interlude, but it's a very somber piano piece that is almost kind of a dirge, I guess, in a way, like a dirge type thing. And then it opens up into this dirge, is meaning like a funeral dirge, like something that da 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 da. But I guess that's Brahms, I think. I can't remember.
That's Chopin.
Chopin. Oh, Chopin, is it? Okay, there you go.
Yep.
So
I even tried to play that once when I had a real piano, but that piece is very heavy.
Are you have you been playing piano for a long time, or is it a recent thing?
Not a long time. Oh, actually, yes. If I'm really honest, piano was the very first instrument I played.
Okay, I was wondering about that
because I was kind of forced by my parents to play the piano, which back in the day I really hated, but now I look at.
But it wasn't cool back then when you're a kid, right?
Yeah, but right now I'm like, thanks to my parents.
I bet
putting me into the piano lessons because I learned so much.
It probably really enhances your guitar playing and your overall. I would say it probably really enhances your songwriting as a whole.
Totally, yeah. Although I really played some very basic stuff like children's songs. Also, it was not really, but I had a good teacher. He showed me a real good music theory as well. So that was the real basis of the music I'm doing today. And I'm still a big classical music fan. And as you just summed the melody, I was right like, that's Chopin.
Well
and
done.
That's one of my favorite pieces of him.
I don't know, obviously, classical because I just I exposed myself right there. I know the pieces like Pachelbel, Tchaikovsky, I know some of those, but I didn't actually know that was Chopin. So that's interesting there. How are you doing on time? Because I swore to Will I'd get you out of here in 45 minutes, but we're already a few minutes over. Do you have 10 minutes?
If I have the time, yeah, sure.
That's what I'm asking you. Do you have the time?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, cool.
I'm open end, basically. Yeah.
Okay, well, Will knows I'm chatty and I like to really dig deep down into this. So he's like,
That's
he's
cool.
got a tour he's got to get ready for. Don't keep him for like 3 hours. I'm like, I promise I won't. 45 minutes. I was worried we wouldn't have a lot to talk about because I'm not as familiar, but I can tell we've got that chemistry of music as a core thing.
It would be a bummer if we ended just because time is over. Just let's keep on chatting.
All right, we'll keep chugging here for maybe 15, 20 minutes. Here's what I did want to say. And I know, are you familiar with the band The Cult?
Nope.
You don't know songs like She Sells Sanctuary or Firewoman or anything like that? Really? The English British band? Wow.
The Cult. No.
The Cult, CULT. Their big song was big song they did was in 1986, 5, something like that. For the song She Sells Sanctuary, it's the one that goes well, I want, you don't know that?
I'm not sure.
Wow, okay.
I really never heard the band's name.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, they're pretty big in the US and pretty big in Europe, so I'm kind of surprised about that. But go check out The Cult. Check out the album Love, because what I really love about the last song is it's definitely got a cult vibe to it, because you've got this really cool mid-80s thing going on with the chordal work that you're doing and the processing that you've got going on with the guitar. It's kind of not very black metal on that song at all.
Yeah.
Even in the heavy part where you're going for it harsh-wise, those guitar chords are very much more alternative 80s sounding chords as opposed.
And we have a chorus effect on all over the song, also on the rhythm guitar section.
Exactly. That's very 80s. That's very cool.
Yeah, that makes it a bit 80s. Yeah.
Yes, which I love, because that speaks to my soul, because that's when I was.
It was the first time we ever did it for any song.
Well, I think it works perfectly. So try it again. Cool. Use it again. Yeah. Let me ask you this: when you're playing live, we'll kind of we'll segue a little bit here. I saw that you were talked about in an interview that when you're recording your vocals, that you envision that you're playing to a live audience. You kind of close your eyes and just dig in like you're playing to hopefully thousands of people, not 3 people. But I'm sure there were days when that happened back in the beginning. But tell me a little bit about that. You're actually spirit questing the performance. You're kind of reaching out to the ether and saying, bring that energy to me, right?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, this thing here, it's my microphone.
Yeah, let me blow you up here. Hold on.
Just
there we go. Okay.
Well, it's very hard. This one. And down there with the green thing, I control my guitar sounds basically. So in this room, in the middle, like with equal distances to the walls, I'm a very, very crazy person in that regard. I need everything pretty symmetrical and also in music production, basically. I rehearse the songs here. Like I will do a final rehearsal just for me today, actually, because tomorrow the band arrives and we start rehearsing all together, and then we leave. Yeah. But I'm in the middle of this room on the carpet and with the music on my ears, and I mostly just close my eyes. You can also see it in the vocal sing through I did for the first song, Marta. We uploaded that a couple of weeks ago. I just close my eyes and I just try to be as connected as possible, because that is, I always wondered how the good singers sound the way they do. And most of them just say, you need to find that connection. And I always was like, how do you find this connection? And for me, it's really closing my eyes, just feel the voice resonating in my body, in my head. I always try to not push very much, because if you just too loud, you can fuck up your voice,
Spread
and
your
it's
vocal cords. Yeah.
fucked up for the rest of the show. We play 90-minute set each night for 17 or 18 days in a row now. So I need to keep some distributing my energy over the course of 90 minutes very evenly. That's a very tough
Thing to do.
challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I found my way, and that's also like bringing myself in this room in a state of mind how I am on stage, and that's the reason why I always display like an audience in front of my inner eye when I close my eyes and imagine the audience in front of me to get myself in the very same feeling. And
it's
then
it's a Zen place for you to go to.
Like a Zen place, yeah. It sounds weird, but also like this, the word flow that is being used a lot when creating anything.
Right.
It's very important for me, not only when creating songwriting, but also live, bringing myself in a kind of flow state, because then you forget about time and the place you are. Sometimes on stage, I feel like I'm in my studio then. So
yeah.
I can
it's almost
travel.
like a comfort level. There's almost a comfort.
Yeah, definitely.
Place. Yeah.
I can travel between places and time in that kind of state, and that is a very nice feeling, I must say. No need of alcohol or any drugs or anything. It's just the music, and best feeling ever.
Do you get? You've performed quite a bit. I was looking at your history, your live gig history. You've done, I don't know, 150, 200 gigs, somewhere in this range now, maybe somewhere in that, maybe 100.
I would have to count them. I think it could be 300.
Okay.
I mean, we're playing since 2010.
Yeah. Do you find a huge difference now as opposed to then? And I guess my question is going to that unschil feeling, that anxiety. Were you really anxious when you first started performing ever, or do you still get anxiety? Do you get the
Absolutely.
performance? Okay.
Yeah, definitely. It's not the people, actually. It's not, we can play the biggest festival like we did 2 years ago, Hellfest, for example. It was, I don't know, 10,000 people. We have it live. I didn't feel as anxious, actually, as you would imagine, playing in front of a huge audience. Mostly it's just situations that I don't know, that I can't control. Basically. Yeah.
Gear breakdown, break a string. That
don't
kind of
get
stuff.
me here.
Yeah.
That's the most nightmare of myself.
I know.
I'm trying to work on it very hard, because that's the only thing that really bothers me. Like in the back of my head during a live show, fuck, what happens if the guitar amp breaks, or if I don't know what happens. But these are only things that don't happen in the present moment, that should not bothering you. If it happens, it happens. You can't do anything about that.
I think that probably got more familiarity of doing it, getting through it a couple times and realizing, okay, I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die from this. So.
I always have to remember one thing. We never, ever, since 15 years on stage, we never had to stop a show. Or we never had the situation that we couldn't start a show because gear broke down or anything didn't work out. You have some delays here and there, but it never happened. The worst nightmare never happened, but it's still in my head sometimes.
Yeah, it's that it's that kind of anticipatory anxiety of what if, the human condition. I think we all have that problem.
And besides, practicing vocals, guitars, it's one of the most important exercises I'm doing, getting myself ready for that kind of situation. Be as calm as possible and let everything happen. What happens, do my best, what I can do.
Right.
Be as prepared as possible. And then everything that goes wrong from there, it's not in my control anymore, and it shouldn't be bothering me. Actually.
Right. And I think the more performances you've done, that probably has slightly eased off a bit, I would assume. Yeah.
But still, shows get bigger. Your responsibility above the show, the people who's buying tickets. it's getting bigger and bigger. So
Sure.
anxiety
you
is
can't
not getting any lower.
well, you can't rely on the thing. Well, it's only 45 people. Who gives a shit? It's
Yeah.
now 4,500, and then it becomes maybe 10,000, and you're like, "Fuck, man, this is a lot of people."
At
It
least
seems-
at a festival, not
Yeah.
at our headline shows. It's
Right.
still well, we're playing the biggest headline shows now on the upcoming tour. Actually, on
Awesome.
Friday, it will be our biggest headline show ever in the until now. It's
That's
if
killer,
we
man.
sell it out, it might be 800 people. But
That's
let's see.
incredibly cool, man. I'm happy for you. That's got to be a great feeling. I wanted to ask you what tunings you typically use.
We use the standard tuning is E flat standard.
So it's E flat.
So,
Okay.
yeah, one step below standard tuning.
Half step.
Then yeah, the whole step down every string.
That's D standard is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Again,
D standard would be a full
half step down,
right?
For each string.
Okay, gotcha. So it's half
Is it
step.
called E flat?
That's that's typically called E flat. That would be something like what Jerry Cantrell used for for Alice in Chains or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you use any odd tunings like out of like anything like drop D, any drop tuning?
Yep.
Okay, I thought
so. For the song Forlorn, for example, we dropped the E string to D flat basically, so have a drop tuning. And because we don't use tremolo guitars, it's no problem live to just tune down the E string, and that's it. Fine tune a little bit, but that's it. But for the song Haven on our previous album Nocturne, we used an open tuning, which is like we actually have to use another guitar
of course,
playing that song live. Because it takes a lot of time to retune every string.
You couldn't tune on the fly for that. That's too
I don't know the exact tuning, but it's just a major chord
like D or G or something like that.
Not sure about the root note now.
Do you do any slide work? I can't remember Haven off the top of my head because I didn't have time to focus on that album a lot. I listened to it once. But have you ever tried anything, or would you be open to trying some slide and open tuning?
Slide,
with like using a metal slide or a glass slide. That really.
I once played in another band. I helped out. I played the bottleneck slide.
Bottleneck. Yeah, that's it.
It was crazy. It was very hard actually. I didn't imagine it. It's so. I thought you have to press the fret, but no, you have to.
You just
not at all.
Like you're just doing. It's almost like playing harmonics on something else.
Right.
It adds a real. It would add a real dimension to maybe your sound. Might be
never thought about it, but it's a great input. Maybe on the next track, on the next album.
Got a couple more here for you quick. I'll let you get out of here. Your effects processor, I see it in the background there. I use this. I don't know if you know what this is. That's the Quad Cortex.
Oh, yeah, I also have one.
Is that what you use typically, or do you just use that for live or in the studio?
No, we are still using Kemper, like the very first generation of Kemper amps. We use the rack version with the power amp inside, so we can also plug in cabinets on stage. Which we still use. I mean, many bands are just DI nowadays, but we still want to feel this extra oomph on stage through the cabinets. Also with the bass, it's also attached to a cabinet. To have also for the first row, sometimes in a small club, the PA is. Imagine standing in the first row. Right. And if you don't have the back line, you only hear the drums.
Exactly. It just blows your ears out with the drums. Exactly.
Sure. And that's the reason why we still use cabinets on stage. And we're very, very happy still with the Kemper's sound. It's it sounds absolutely amazing.
Sure.
But the thing that, for example, the Quad Cortex does really perfectly is like the computing power inside. You can actually put two guitars and a bass and a vocal actually through this thing, and it just takes a very small space in the rack or wherever you have it on stage, and it's not that expensive, 1,500 euros or dollars, I think. And in the end, you can save a lot of space, weight, and money actually by playing through that kind of thing.
Sure.
With the campers, we have these rack campers, so it takes up 6 units of space in our racks, which is quite a lot. But we still use it because all of our songs are like programmed to that.
So you're using in-ears then, I'm guessing, or no?
We are also using
Okay,
in-ears.
all right, yeah.
Yes.
You're playing to a click then?
We play to a click, and
Right.
nowadays we even MIDI program the effect
Keyboard.
changes.
Oh, you have that MIDI programmed. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's important for songs like Immortal, for example, also from the previous record, because we use the camper actually as a synthesizer at some point.
Mhm.
The guitar is just a very simple input instrument. You
Right.
know, in the song Immortal, the guitar only plays one single note, like dick, 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 and the camper
And it
does like
triggers the
it triggers
orchestral thing.
an effect, harmonizer, and everything. And in that case, it needed some MIDI programming to do that properly. But it created a whole new universe of guitar effects for us,
Right.
which became an integral part of the whole, also on the new album. Because to be honest, the gear we use in the studio for the recordings, it was exactly the same as we use live.
Okay.
Also the MIDI programming, the guitar effects, everything. You know, we recorded the guitars live in one takes on the new album, and we just hit the play button on Cubase and let the MIDI thing doing this stuff. And that just concentrated on playing, and that was very cool, and that created a very organic live feeling. Although it's all digital, I know, but
okay. So that let me interrupt just a sec, because that leads into the thought that I wanted to ask you about. It's very clear that to perform this live as a 4-piece, it's impossible unless you take a keyboard player out, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So you are using MIDI tracks, obviously, for all the synth stuff. Is that being triggered by the guitars? Is that what you're saying?
No.
okay.
The synth sounds you hear on the album
are
all not a laptop. It's I used, for example, the Korg Minilogue XD synthesizer, a hardware synthesizer, or the software versions of Juno, Roland Juno, or Prophet 5, I think, and just bounced the tracks to a final stereo file, and that comes from a backing track player, basically.
And that's what plays over. You're playing to that with the MIDI.
Not too loud. You know, the synths are always in the background, but creating a very new texture.
Right.
If you mute them, you kind of miss something. The songs still work without the synths, but especially on the new album, the synths are really
integral.
on another.
They're integral.
Some kind. And for the guitars, again, of course, we have a very standard rhythm sound, a lead sound with reverb and delay. But we have a couple of songs. For example, on the beginning of Marta, on the new album, the song, the whole album starts with this deep, like submarine sounding guitar.
I said like a machine like thing.
Yeah, like this one. It's guitars. It's not a synth, but we put on an octaver as the first effect, and then a very crazy fuzz sound, and then some kind of EQing to create
layered a lot of modulation onto it.
To create this kind of sound, but to be able to pull that off live without stepping on all the effects with your feet, we let that.
So you're just going to let that play from the track, then, essentially,
from the MIDI controls. Yeah.
Now you started to say it though, because you said, I understand that. You started to start a thought, and I interrupted you simply to go to this, to point you in that direction, which was, yes, there's a lot of, but they're not playing live, dude. So what's your take on that?
Oh, whatever suits the music, you know. Although I'm always saying in many interviews, and what I said also earlier in this interview, we have to get back to the analog world. We have to get back to real things, and not only the internet, and not only your digital phone and media, which is quite the opposite of what I just said with the guitar
It
amp.
is, yeah.
I'm fully aware of that. But our guitar amps, which are digital, I mean, I'm always pointing there because
I got you.
Next to me here.
Right.
It made me it made me able to make my vision how I want to have my music sound the way I want it, without, I'm still using tube amps from time to time, and
I was
real
going to ask you
analog
that if you do any
tube
reamping.
tube screamer or analog effects, but to get the vision and the variety of sounds we are looking for in our band, basically not possible anymore.
Yeah, you can't do it unless you had 15 members of the band playing.
Yeah,
at the same time. Yeah,
that's the thing. Of course, there are people who say, well, then why not going back to tube amps? No, we've done that in the past. Right now, we're arrived in an age where this all is possible.
Right.
It also comes with a risk, and it's a big risk for people who start out playing guitars. And probably you know what I mean by having all these
you can hide
thousands of possibilities and presets and everything. It's very dangerous to get yourself lost in the process.
I think they call that in the US, we call that paralysis by analysis, meaning there's just too many choices. You can and you can also be a really shitty guitar player and still sound really cool. And that's
I'm not a technical player. I must really say I'm not able to sweep pick. I'm not able to, like John Petrucci style. I don't know what alternative picking is.
Only John Petrucci can play that way. So
yeah,
I mean,
only him.
I just saw him last week, man. It was fucking mind blowing. Like wow.
Yeah.
And I go all the way back to Falling Into Infinity, the fourth album, when I first saw him. He's frighteningly good, and I can sweep a little, but not great. I have a damaged finger here, so I can't do full sweeps, but I've learned to work around. I do a lot of legato stuff, which is kind of my favorite style of playing. But you can use the technology to help enhance what you said, what I hear you said, and it's a great statement, is using the technology that's now afforded to us. You can create what you're hearing deep inside here that maybe you couldn't have done 20 years ago. You couldn't have done it 20 years ago.
I'm not saying digital is better than analog or the other way around. By using all this digital guitar amp, for example, we tried to do the opposite, basically, or I tried to do the opposite in the mix or in the recording itself. We really tried to focus on our human abilities on our instruments or on the vocals, which meant we rehearsed, we practiced like crazy to be able to pull every song off in one take. That was our aim. And we learned that our band really benefits from that kind of approach through the recording process of Nocturne, and we repeated that basically on the new album. But to be able to do that, it again means going back to like this digital domain that helps, as you said, bringing this vision to life, basically. And that's just our approach. Of course, there will be people who still play their guitar straight into a Marshall, cranking it up and having a good time, and that's perfect for some kind of music. We have our music has evolved into this kind of direction with this, which is another one, of course.
If you're playing Lynyrd Skynyrd, you don't need much. You just need a really crank Marshall, maybe a boost for your
And sometimes I wish we could do that.
But you're not writing. But you're not writing the type of material that accommodates itself to. So, a couple more minutes. I got a few quickies to get you out of here.
Sure.
Will, if you're watching this, I apologize. You know I never shut up. So
I think he's sleeping.
I know he's sleeping. But when he watches it on the repeat, if he does, I saw an interview recently. You talked about. Oh, I'm sorry. No, wait, we already did that one. I wanted to ask you about your guitars. I saw you on the Hellfest video. It looks like you're playing an Ibanez of some sort that I'm not very familiar with. What model is that?
I just
Is that your main axe that
This
you play
one,
most
yeah.
of the time? Okay, what is that? I think I got you backwards here. Hold on a minute. I think you're. Is that look
Oh,
where? That's
yeah,
better. There we go. I
that's
had
the
you
right way.
backwards. I apologize.
Yeah, it's
What model is that?
Ibanez RC 2720. I really needed to learn this number because Ibanez just puts out random numbers for their
Right.
models. I
Right,
have the
right.
impression, and I don't know. We've been Ibanez endorses like 10 years now,
Mhm.
and they're doing really workhorses guitars. They sound amazing, they feel amazing, but I must honestly say, and sorry Ibanez, but most of the guitars don't are just from the looks. They're not my style.
Well, it's
Except
interesting that
for
you say
that
that.
one.
It's interesting you say that because
Yeah, this one also. I really love that.
that's my Ibanez Destroyer
Yep.
too. Yeah, just
It's the
bought that
Destroyer.
about a year ago.
Cool. But I'm really rather into this vintage kind of Jaguar Jazzmaster,
Yeah, it's got
or
the
also
Jazzmaster vibe. Yep. Mhm.
Strat style.
Single
From time to
coils
time.
on there or doubles?
That's a cool thing about this guitar. It has the
Coil splitting.
P rail.
Humbuckers. Yeah, it's got the
It's a
humbuckers.
mixture. It's the
Okay.
mixture of P90 and single coil
Okay.
in one case, and you can
Coil split.
with this one,
Yep.
with this
Coil
switch,
split.
you can switch between single coil only, P90 only, and single coil and P90
And then blend
switch
it.
together
Yeah.
as a humbucker.
Ah.
And that's the perfect sound for our music, actually.
Yeah.
And then you have the standard three-way switch to switch between bridge, both, and neck, volume, and tone. And you get nine different sounds out of this guitar.
Nice.
And especially, I really love the P90 mid position for this crunchy,
the more rhythm,
twangy sound.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For some very basic chord.
Yeah,
the chord I use in Immortal, it has this twangy sound.
Yeah.
And so nice.
Which is
so I
interesting.
really love this guitar.
I would gather that you're very familiar with Alcest, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, Niche uses Fender Jazzmasters and Jaguars, I believe. Yeah, and I think I got to get him on, but I can't remember whether he has. I think his is all stock though. I think he just stays with single coil, and he's also very much an analog guy. But there are shades of Alcest in what you do in the more dreamy sections, but you're far more savage than Alcest in terms of the real black metal stuff. Is he doesn't do a lot of, or Alcest doesn't do a ton of blasting. They're more in that dream pop sort of black metal thing, black gaze.
Yeah, funny thing, I don't know if you saw I did a feature for Metal Injection with this guitar in the studio. Look it up on YouTube.
Okay.
And I'm playing an Alcest riff.
Oh, were you?
Because I was asked to show my inspirations, like the riffs that taught me. It was, and just look it up. I'm playing a couple of cool things.
So I didn't.
Alcest.
I was trying to decide whether I wanted to bring up Alcest or not. Mainly because I didn't want it to be like, oh, here we go, that guy's going. But there is the dreamier, gazier parts, and like I said, I call it kind of a black gaze thing. Really does remind me somewhat, not directly, but somewhat of Alcest. If I'm hearing you right, you just said that's definitely an influence for you.
Yeah, definitely. Also, Neige's older project, Amuseur, was kind of a very dark, post-punky black metal thing.
I've heard it.
I really enjoyed that.
That's good.
That one as well. Yeah.
I saw them back in February twice in Philadelphia and Baltimore, and they were
Nice. Oh, they did this
fantastic.
huge tour, right?
Yeah, it was fantastic, dude. I mean, the one place I saw them in Baltimore, there had to have been, that club holds about 1,000, and it was packed. You couldn't barely breathe. So, but they hadn't been over here in a very long time. I think the last time I saw them was 2018. So it'd been about 7 years. But love his music, man. He's a real visionary there. So let's talk about your tour real fast. I guess you're in Ghost City right now. Am I assuming that?
Oh no, I'm not working at Ghost City anymore. It was
you're
during
not?
the
Okay.
Nocturne album. This is my personal studio.
Oh,
in
it's your
Würzburg,
personal studio. Do you have a name for it
my
or
hometown.
no?
No, it's
No.
just I'm doing only my own things here.
Nikita's place.
Nikita's place, yeah, right. No, just a couple of different other projects I'm working on, and mixing, mastering for other bands also.
Okay.
But not at that very moment, because you know the band takes up all my time.
Sure. I have just as a taster here, I've got V Centura. You know who that is? Victor from Triptychon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, V's coming on in about 2 weeks, I believe. So we're gonna have him
nice,
in.
cool.
And
Say
his
hi
place,
to him.
I think his thing is called Woodshed Studios.
Woodshed, yeah.
Woodshed, or I think that's it. I think
Woodshed Studios. It's just 2 hours from my place.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're not that far. You're German. He's German too.
I've never been. Yeah, I've never been there in person. But yeah, we met in Mexico.
Cool. Oh, nice.
You know, wherever
out on the road.
yeah.
Seems like a cool guy. I'm looking forward to talking to him.
Sure, definitely.
So real quick, you have a European tour that starts in 3 days, 2.5 days now, probably, in Dresden. Do you enjoy being out on the road and on stage? Because some artists don't really enjoy it. Sounds to me like you do. For example, I interviewed Harry from Hooded Menace. I don't know if you know them, a Finnish death metal band. And they've stopped performing live, even though they've got a new album coming out. They're a label mate of yours. They've got a new album coming out next month. But Lassa doesn't want to go out on the road. He just doesn't enjoy it, doesn't see the benefit in it. Tell me about your vibe on all
that. There definitely has been a time, it must be 2017, after our release tour, where I was really like, nope, I don't think I want to do this again. But it was mainly because the tour was very badly organized.
Okay.
And we didn't have a tour manager, so I did the tour managing for a full tour myself, and I was just wasted afterwards.
Yeah.
And I learned my lesson, never do a tour again without a tour manager. For example, it takes off so much stress from your shoulders, even though it costs money in the end, yes, but sometimes you have to invest in your well-being, also money,
your mental well-being, your health, your mental health.
So maybe if a band doesn't have the money and they have to do it themselves, and they don't have a crew, which we always take on tour with us for the exact same reason, because we as musicians on stage, we can't have all the responsibility of the show in our own hands. You always have to start like that as a small band, that's for sure. But at some point, if you can pay it or pay for it, I encourage everyone to get first maybe the sound guy, then light guy we always travel with, and then a tour manager. That's very important.
Pretty pivotal. I know a lot of.
So if you're able, or we found ways to cover that, and now I'm very more relaxed in a way. But still coming back to what I said earlier, as always, there's always this kind of nervous, anxious thing that's still going on.
Sure.
But maybe also that's the necessary thing that needs to go on to maintain, to not have a show being a full-blown routine that you can pull off any time. It
in
still
your sleep,
needs to, in your sleep. It still needs, you have to prepare yourself again, but it still needs to be something
You need a little bit of
something
those
special.
variables. You need a little bit of variables of the unknown, but you
Little
don't
bit of
want them to be
chaos.
overwhelming, right? You don't
Yeah,
want them to,
yeah,
little
yeah.
chaos, exactly.
So
Yeah.
right now, after all these years of touring, I think we found a sweet spot where it's very enjoyable. We have our crew, luckily, thanks to them, and I really enjoy it. And all of our band, especially also our drummer Tobias, he's the total live guy. He
Okay.
really loves performing. That's the
It's
reason
always
why
the drummer, right? It's always the drummer.
yeah. And I'm happy about that because I think in metal, drums carry all the weight.
You cannot.
If they fuck up, the band is lost.
You can't be a good band without a good drummer. There's just no way. Real quick on that, if there was one thing you had to say that the touring aspect of your band and performing gives you that being in the studio and creating doesn't give you, what would it be?
It's the direct connection with the people in one room. You know, in a studio, you have this connection with your bandmates, especially if you're recording live. But the one thing that is always missing, and again, that's the reason why I close my eyes and imagine the people in the room. It's the connection you have.
That energy.
Yeah, the energy. Yeah. That's very important. That's, you know, I wrote and also recorded the songs in the studio until the album finished there, until 2017, all by myself, basically. Like all the guitars, all the
pretty
bass,
isolated,
very isolated.
Yeah.
And I was so fed up by this process. That didn't get me anywhere. That's why we decided to make it completely different from Nocturne. And so that's the major thing.
One last thing here. We'll touch on two last things quick. First one is you're coming to the US. Your first time, I think, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's your thoughts about that? Are you excited about it?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, we tried
Maryland Death Fest, by the way, I should mention.
Yeah, Maryland Death Fest in May next year.
Mm-hmm.
We tried it once in 2015. So quite an early stage in the band. We had a full tour, like 2 or 3 weeks scheduled. Mm-hmm. We applied for the visas and everything, but it turned out that the visa agent was kind of a fraud or something. He took the money, never showed up.
Lovely.
Money's gone. Perfect. Yeah, and that happened to a lot of bands in that time frame, in that exact time frame, unfortunately. So it was a total rip-off, and we didn't get our visas. We had to cancel the tour, and it took us really so long until we felt ready again, also mentally. I mean, we lost a couple of dollars, that's for sure. We could recompensate for that during the years, but we really, the next time we wanted to visit the US, we really wanted to make sure this won't happen again.
Yes.
And we can make sure, we can guarantee, if we confirm a show, we can also make it.
Well, the good news is, and I was just at Maryland Death Fest. I've been the last 2 years, and I've been before in past years. You're dealing with real professional guys there. They're not going to fuck you around.
Yeah. And that was the main reason why we accepted playing there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also the reason why it's a one-off show, because of course Maryland Death Fest, the organizer, he's paying a lot of money, and he's putting a lot of effort and work into the process that we can make it to the show. Mm-hmm. And that's why he wants the show exclusive, and that's pretty.
I was just going to ask you kind of nutshelled what I was going to ask, because a lot of times, Greg, I don't, are you familiar with the band Esoteric in Great Britain? So Greg Chandler's a good buddy of mine, and they were able to. A lot of bands do this, but it sounds like you're not going to do this, at least this time, which is the bands that are coming over, the foreign bands, the European bands, or then they bring bands from all over. They often tend to get you hooked up with a booking agent, then that can put you on a small tour, whether it's an East Coast. Was that even broached, or?
We had this option, but again, the thing is, Maryland Death Fest, for us as a rather smaller band on the bill,
right?
They spent so much money, and if we said, okay, you pay all the visa and all the flights. Let's do another tour.
Yeah.
You know,
You didn't feel
we would
comfortable doing that to him.
we would have to cover most of the expenses ourselves
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
And then just the fear or the risk of not making it in the end because some stupid shit happens and we don't get the visas, we
No.
lose so much again. So this time we really wanted to make sure we just play this festival, all right?
Yeah.
If we played that successfully,
Then you'll see what can come of it. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it will be a door opener. Also, thanks to interviews like yours now. So anyone who sees this interview and likes our band, just tell your local promoter about us, and the connections are getting made, and we can finally schedule a full tour. Maybe, I don't know, in the second half of next year.
Okay.
If that works out, or 27. Let's see.
Yeah.
But
that'd be cool, man.
Maryland will be our first,
it's kind of your showcase in a way.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be your showcase. And trust me,
I know it's very difficult for West Coastlers to go there all the way.
That festival brings a lot of people in, man, from all over. That brings people in from Australia, from Europe. It's the deal. It's the legit deal for the type of music that we like. You're not going to get to see bands like Sin Mara or Mortuary Drape or Ahab or some of these bands I've gotten to see. Got to see Sodom 2 nights in a row. I'd never seen Sodom before. So, Sodom, of course, one of the biggest bands from Germany. It's a great festival. It's run extremely well. They take care of the talent that comes in. It's kind of cool too, because you get to if you stick around for a day or two, if it's possible for you, you get to kind of run around and meet other band guys and meet your fans directly. And
we will be there for 2 days or 2 nights at least, maybe longer. Let's see.
Yeah, they don't have the schedule up yet, and I don't even know if you know, but don't say. But I don't think I'm coming for the whole thing this time, because I've done it 2 years in a row, and it beat the living shit out of me. I mean, I was going to say, prepare your immune system, because there is something called the Maryland Death Fest scourge, and I got it, and it was, in my lungs. It wasn't COVID, but it was something that was worse than COVID. I swear.
I don't want to get it before the show. After the show, it's all right, but not before the show, please.
It was rough. That was
okay.
So prep your immune system for that. But it's a great thing. And when I know the schedule, that's 7-8 months away now at this point yet. But when I know the schedule, well, it's 8 months. I'll definitely try to catch you guys, because as soon as I saw you were on, I'm like, last week, I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, there's a couple big names that, like Solitude Eternus, Rotting Christ. I want to see them, but I'm not going to go 5 days in a row. I just can't do it at 60. My legs are beat. I can't drink like that for 5 days.
Totally.
Yeah. So, all right, man.
Same for me already.
What's that?
I mean, same for me already. Festivals are not. I can spend one day, and the second day I'm like, whoa,
shot.
I want to go home.
Yeah. Look, man, this is an amazing record. At the end of the year, we always do these album of the year things. I guarantee you, this is gonna be in a top 10 easy, and probably top 5 maybe. Is it going to be the top one? You'll have to tune in and see at some point in time. We usually do it first week of January, so that's quite a ways off. And there are some big ones coming up. Ruins of Beverast, that band, of course. And like we said, Blue Dust Nord is one, Hooded Menace. So there's a lot of great stuff coming out. My bank account very much hates me. Suffers every minute of every day. Nikita, I want to thank you so much for all the time. Will is going to be so pissed at me, but dude, we had a great conversation, I think. So.
Totally. Yeah. Thank you very much. Also, what is not mentioned a lot, at least I don't see it that often, is to appreciate the work you're doing and all your colleagues around the world do for the metal scene or music scene and underground scene. I mean, over the past 15 years, when we evolved as a band, it's also the reason because of guys like you, like spending their time, their money even, and passion, especially
That's why I do this. I don't make much money.
yeah.
I'm going to be honest
And
with you, very little.
yeah,
You know? And you know what? I'm going to make sure I make no money off this interview, because when you leave, I'm going to play a track from the album. I'm going to play EOS so people can hear it, and that will automatically get me monetized. You'll get the money from it. So I do that often. I just don't. I do this. We are the new zines.
Yeah,
we're the zines, and it's a passion thing. And I will say, the benefit for me has been I've gotten to meet so many cool people that are in my tribe, you know. And yeah, I'm kind of an elder statesman in the tribe at this point. You know, I'm kind of one of the old dudes, but you know
but you're inspiring new people again. I mean, having a YouTube channel and doing this live stream thing. Actually, this is the very first live interview I'm doing.
Okay, they've all been edited.
Yeah. No, not edited, but pre-recorded and then
I don't upload it. I typically don't do it. I just don't. Okay. I want the interaction. I look at it this way: you and I walk into a bar. I'm wearing a Blue Dot Snort shirt, and you're wearing a Dissection shirt, and I'm like, dude, yeah, and you're like, bro, yeah, and it's like before you know it, 3 beers in, we're just sitting there going, man, do you have like Triarchy of, you know, from Dawn, or do you know that riff there in, you know, whatever, the somber lane?
It felt like that. It really felt like that. So I was.
That's what it's all about. You know, it's that connected thing, and that
except for coffee instead of beer.
Yeah, I'm just drinking iced tea. I'm drinking iced tea. It's that meme that I know you've seen one here, where the 2 guys walk into the beer cooler, and one guy's got a Maiden shirt and one guy's got a Judas Priest shirt on, and they lock eyes, and the next scene is they're running through the field throwing flowers and holding hands. It's like, it's weird, but the metal brotherhood it's a special brotherhood. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Sisterhood. And sisterhood. Yeah, I got a little bit misogynist there. I didn't mean to be that way, but you're right. There's a lot of, you know what? And that's the great thing about, you go to Maryland Death Fest, you're like, man, I didn't know this many women were into like super extreme metal. This is awesome. You know? But it's a super cool brotherhood that includes the sisterhood. You know what I mean? So hang on one second. I'm going to let you there. Well, actually, I'm going to let you go because I've kept you for an hour and a half. I'm going to play. Do you mind if I play EOS? Because the album's out now, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So that's
play everything.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the EOS track at the end here for people that, you know, tune in and catch this at the end. I will tell you, I was not able, because of a lot of other interviews last week. I've been slammed with stuff. I was not able to get all the links and stuff in the description. It'll be there by tomorrow after I get up, take a nap here. I'll get that stuff in there. So I have links to the Bandcamp, to your Facebook, to your website, all that good stuff, and I'll direct traffic that way. All right?
Thank you very much.
Brother, have a good afternoon, okay? Sorry I kept you so long.
You too.
All right.
And see you in Maryland Death Fest next year.
I hope so. I hope I'll be there, man. Like, you know, like I said, I'm not going to be able to do all 5 days this day.
But hopefully ours.
I'm definitely going to earmark your day to try to be there, and we'll hang out. I'll get you, buy you a beer or something.
Thank you.
All right, man. All right, man. Take care of yourself. Bye.
You too. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to play a track off the album here real quick, and we'll end with that. And, oh, wait, is that right? Hold on here. Yeah. So we're going to play this track, EOS. Probably not saying it right, but I think I am. And I need to just do something real fast here. And here we go. All right, that was EOS, third track off of the new Der Weg Einer Freiheit. Man, I don't know. I'm not good. I'm not a good German speaker, even though I actually come from German roots. But I want to thank Nikita very much for that wonderful interview. Really cool guy. Really cool dude. A lot of fun there. I think he enjoyed it. I hope. I think. But yeah, there's something about this album, man. It's absolutely amazing, and their other stuff is equally as good. I don't know that I got to dig back into it, so I don't want to like say, oh, this one's better than that, or this is better than that, or whatever. Right now on Rate Your Music, this one seems to be jumping way out in front. But the interesting thing about this band is that if you go look at their Rate Your Music, which I use a lot to kind of gauge like-minded people's opinions of albums. If you go look at it, all of their albums are 3.5 and above, which you rarely find that with any metal band in particular, and you rarely find it for most bands. Sorry about that noise there. But this is I think this is pretty special black metal, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's just metal. Let's just call it metal. Really killer stuff. Thanks to Will over at Season of Mist, dude. Thank you so much for always feeding me great music and good interviews and whatnot, because that was a great one. And check this album out, people. Go stream it on Bandcamp and then buy it. Like, support the artist, man, because if we don't support the artists with our dollars, they won't be able to continue to do it. I mean, they'll still want to do it, but they're not going to be able to do it with any regularity, because people got to survive, man. I mean, this world is fucked up, and it's getting more and more fucked up by the day, and we need to support these guys. So yeah, he wouldn't have stuck around if he wasn't interested. I agree. He would have given me the high sign that the one of those things. So generally I don't recall anyone ever doing that to me. I've had one or two people that I could tell they were like, yeah, I got to get out of here soon. I got too much going on. It's usually the bigger names. But yeah, that was a very thoroughly enjoyable interview and review, because I kind of reviewed the album while we were talking, which is kind of what I do somewhat when I do these. If I'm doing a promo type interview. Upcoming things this Sunday. I think I'm taking the rest of the week off. I need a little bit of a break, and I got to address some health stuff and some personal financial things and all kind of crazy shit that I shouldn't have to deal with right now by myself. But I think the only major thing that I've got coming up will be the interview with Marcus and Kim. I'll show the book again. I should have had it out here, damn it. Come on now. I pulled the book up. Man, where is it, man? Where's the book? Where's the book? Shit, where is it? Sorry, I have a lot of stuff laying here on my couch. I'm trying to find it. You're kidding me. I can't find it. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, here it is, right here. All right. Yeah. Rotting Ways to Misery. History of Finnish death metal, which I got to get my ass busy on and get this wrapped up by Sunday. Kim Stromsholm and Marcus Makinen, and we're going to talk a little bit about Marcus and his time in the band Hooded Menace, amongst others. And 12:30 p.m. So it's an early afternoon, which is unusual, but we're going to have these guys in because they're in Finland, so they're 7 hours ahead, and we want to make sure we have plenty of time to do this interview. So check that out. And then we'll see where it goes. Like I said, I got V Centura lining up. I got to get him sorted out. And I have one or two other cool interview possibilities coming up next week. Later this week, I'm hoping to maybe get Carl Sanders. But next week, and that's not a guarantee. That might not happen until a little bit further down the line. But the next week, then, I've got a lot of shows I'm hoping to go to. I'm hoping to be well enough to go to. So we'll see how that goes. Frontline Assembly. Probably hearing the fan because it's ungodly hot in my room right now. And I'll have the air on. Got very warm in Pennsylvania right now. It was like up to 85, almost 86 degrees today. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Thanks to everybody for hanging out. Keep an eye on my community posts and keep an eye on Instagram, and you'll know how to get me there. Please like and subscribe and leave your comments and blah, 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 all that good stuff. It helps. All right, so I can grow the channel. Appreciate it. Good night.